start some transformations in SSIS. Okay, what's the transformation? Yesterday what we have seen a simple package where we took the data from the source and we loaded the data into the destination. That is the one thing we have seen. Now what we are going to see how to convert the data. That all things we'll see. Okay, we'll see step by step transformations. So what I will take in the same intro, see one more thing I need to remember you. So yesterday the package was like this. You can see the colorful, right? So now I can disable them. When I disable, even though if you run the package, that one will not execute. It's okay. So I'll disable this one. Now I'll create one more data flow task. Drag and drop one data flow task. So what we will see before going to the data flow task, I'll just click. We'll go to the data flow tab. So now you can see source and destinations and transformations. In these transformations, we'll go step by step. First, what is the aggregate or before that, we'll go step by step. What is the aggregate? So in the SQL Server, you do group by, right? You will do group by like you take the data and you do like you do group by based on some columns. Okay, the same thing we are going to do in our SSIS packages. So before that, what I'll do, I'll open one our same management studio. We'll create our own script and if we see the output. And after that, we will run the same process by using SSIS and then we will compare the output and let's see what exactly it matches or not. Okay. So I'll go here, done.
Okay, question.
Yeah, Cheppa.
ఒకసారి టూల్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తారు.
Yeah, tool. Okay. Yeah.
ఒకసారి డెస్టినేషన్ అసిస్టెంట్ ఒకసారి డ్రాగ్ చేసి ఒకసారి డబుల్ క్లిక్ చేయరు ఒకసారి.
డెస్టినేషన్ అసిస్టెంట్ డ్రాగ్ చేశాను. డ్రాగ్ చేస్తే యాక్చువల్గా మీకు ఇది స్టెప్లను అడుగుతుంది మిమ్మల్ని.
దీంట్లో ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ చూపిస్తలేదు, అందుకని నేను
ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ మీకు బేసిక్గా ఏంటిదంటే మీకు ఇప్పుడు దీంట్లో ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ చూపెడతలేదు కదా. ఇక్కడ మీకు మీరు అలా కాకుండా నార్మల్గా మీరు ఏంటిదంటే న్యూ అని కొట్టండి.
అదర్ డెస్టినేషన్స్ నుంచి
ఓకే 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 అంటే బేసిక్గా మీకు ఇది ఏంటంటే జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ షార్ట్ కట్ లాగా నార్మల్గా నేనైతే ఎప్పుడు వాడనేది. ఓకే,
ఫేవరెట్స్ లో ఉంది కదా అనుకుంటాను.
ఇది ఏంటంటే బేసిక్గా ఫేవరెట్స్ మీకు షార్ట్ కట్ ఉండడానికే ఇచ్చారు, కానీ నాకు తెలిసి ఇది ఏమంత మళ్ళీ ఇది ఓపెన్ చేసి మీరు సీక్వెల్ సర్వర్ ఓపెన్ చేయడం అంటే మళ్ళీ వేస్టే కదా. ఇది ఓన్లీ ఎందుకంటే మీకు ఫస్ట్ మీరు ఒకవేళ స్టార్టింగ్ ఇనిషియల్ స్టేజ్లో ఉంటేనే వాడుతుంది అంతే. నేనైతే నార్మల్గా ఎప్పుడైనా సరే డేటా సోర్స్లోకి వెళ్ళి సీక్వెల్ కావాలంటే జస్ట్ సీక్వెల్ తీసి ఇక్కడ డ్రాగ్ అండ్ డ్రాప్ చేసేస్తాను, అయిపోతుంది. ఓఎల్ఈడిబి డ్రాగ్ చేస్తాను, అయిపోయి నాకు వచ్చేస్తుంది, క్లిక్ చేస్తే నాకు ఈజీగా వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా. ఇది సింపుల్ అనమాట. మీరు అలా కాకుండా మీరు ఇంకోటి ఎలా చేయొచ్చు అంటే, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇక్కడ డ్రాగ్ అండ్ డ్రాప్ చేసి ఇక్కడ నేను సోర్స్ కనెక్షన్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను కదా, అలా కాకుండా మీరు మాన్యువల్గా ఇక్కడ కనెక్షన్ మేనేజర్స్ రైట్ క్లిక్ కొట్టి ఇక్కడ బై డిఫాల్ట్ కొన్ని ఉంటాయి, కాకపోతే న్యూ కనెక్షన్ అని కొట్టండి, మీకు అన్నీ వస్తాయి. ఇక్కడ డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ కనెక్షన్ మేనేజర్ ఇది ఇట ఉంటుంది మీకు. స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ మీరు చూస్తే మీకు ఐడియా వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే ఇప్పుడు దీంట్లోకి వెళ్ళి ఇక్కడ ఒక టేబుల్ చూస్తున్నాను, ఏ టేబుల్ బాగుంటుంది అని చెప్పి. ఒక కంపెనీ జీ టాప్ 1000 rows చూసాం, ఒకసారి డేటా ఏమైనా ఉందా లేదా. ఓకే, నాకు ఇదేమొద్దు. ఈ కంపెనీ డేటా ఉంది కదా, నాకు ఎలా కావాలంటే గ్రూప్ బై కంపెనీ ఐడి అండ్ టోటల్ అమౌంట్ కావాలి. కాబట్టి నేను ఏం చేస్తాను దాన్ని, ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే కంపెనీ క్వార్టర్ టోటల్ అమౌంట్, ఐ హ్యావ్ ద కంపెనీ ఐడి క్వార్టర్ అండ్ అమౌంట్, రైట్. నౌ ఐ వాంట్ ద కంపెనీ ఐడి అండ్ టోటల్ అమౌంట్ ఫర్ ద కంపెనీ ఫర్ ఆల్ క్వార్టర్స్. ఓకే, దెన్ వాట్ ఐ విల్ డూ, జనరల్లీ ఐ విల్ డూ ద సమ్. We'll write the aggregate functions, right? Sum of, I'll write it as amount and then amount, then since it is aggregate function, so definitely I need to use a group by. Okay, now when I do this, see, I can see a total amount for this each company, right. Now the same thing I will do by the SSIS. click on the SSIS, since already we have the data flow task, right? So I'll name the data flow task aggregate AGGR. okay, aggregate. I will click on this. Now, what I need to have the source. As usual, you need to have the source. For connecting to the source, I will drag and drop the OLEDB source. Click on this. Now, since I have a connection for AdventureWorks, I don't have connection for the my thing, right? I don't have connection for this database, because this is located in the SQL class database, right? So, currently I don't have any connection to the SQL server SQL class database. So, the options which I have is that either I can use this, because by using the, instead of using the table, when I use a table, I'll get multiple tables in the database, right? So, the other thing I can do is that instead of the table, I can use the SQL command. I can write the SQL command. So, this is the command I have, right, at the beginning. So, this is the command I have. So, I can just write the command, that is it. Okay. Select command. I'll in the here I will paste this. So, this is my select command. So, what I will do, I'll connect to the select command. Control C. Oh. Okay. Now, I can do that way, because since if you connect from different database, what you are doing here, the server is same, you are connecting to AdventureWorks database. If you want to run connect to a different database from this database, normally what we are going to do, you are going to write database name dot schema name dot table name, right? That is the one thing I can do. I will copy, I will paste it here, done. When I preview, I can see the records. That is the one way I can do. Okay, I am cancelling this. The other way you can do is that just click here, or from here you can create a new connection to the database. Click new and create a new connection. That is the one thing. I am not going to do that also. Click cancel, cancel. In the connection manager, I will right click here. Since I am connecting to the SQL server, right, I will do the OLEDB connection. Now, I will click new. Here I am going to connect to the database. Okay, until then we can see what is the database it is. It is a SQL class database. So, I will connect here. I will connect to the SQL class database. Done. Click OK. You got it. Now, click OK. Automatically that SQL class database connection will be created. Now, I will click on this. I will point to the SQL class connection. Done. Now, you can get the table name. See, it is a company, right? Done. Preview, you will get the data. Okay. Now, done. Columns, everything is fine. Okay. Now, you want to do the aggregate. For doing the aggregate, you add one transformation called aggregate transformation. In the common, you will be getting. Okay. Now, drag and drop the aggregate. Now, give the input. See, for every transformation, you need to manually provide the input. Then only you can do it, right? So, then in order to provide the input, you will connect this blue line to this one. After connecting, now I will click the aggregate. When I click now it will ask me the columns, which columns I want. Because see, based on your query, what you have seen, you took the company ID in the group by and you took the sum amount as a sum, right? Only two columns you took. The same way you will be saying, you will take the company ID and amount. Company ID, see, by default, based on the data types, by default it is considering this as a group by default it is taking. Normally, if it is not, it will give some different thing, but by default it took the sum. Okay. See, I will go cancel. Now, I will click aggregate. Okay. Now, I will select the company ID. When I select the company ID, you can see I will not select the company ID. Now, you can see input column, output column, operation. What operation you want to perform? Comparison flags, count distinct scale, count distinct keys. Okay. In that, mostly we will use this first three. That is it. So, I will select when I select the company ID, you got the input column, you got the output alias. At the same time, you also has a by default the operation based on the data type, by default it will take as a integer. If it is an integer, normally it will take as a group by. Since amount is a money data type, right? So, normally you do sum on the money only you do sum, right, by default normally. Okay. So, system based on the system knowledge or something, it by default it assigns as a group by only, because we want company ID in the group by. See, you can see the here I want the company ID in the group by. So, it took. Sometimes if it does not detect anything, then you can manually select that. Then I want it the amount one. When I select the amount, because I want the amount in sum, right, you can see amount in sum. So, automatically based on the data type, it automatically detected the operation. If not, you can manually select it. Okay. Then that is it, done. Click OK. I got it aggregate. Now what I will do, I load it into a table. So how to load it into a table? I will take the OLEDB destination, click, select the OLEDB destination, done. Now connect it to the OLEDB destination, click on this, and now what I will do, I'll create on the SQL class database only. I will create the table name. Now since I have no table to store the data, right, I can click here new. Automatically a new table structure will be created based on the input columns. Now the table name, I can give my table name. I will give it as company aggregate. Okay, the table name is company aggregate. It has a company ID and amount. Done. Okay. Now when you do the mapping, you got 2 columns. Done. Okay. Now I am going to execute this. Right click on this. You can execute in 2 ways, right? You can 3 ways you can execute. Either execute this, whole package will execute, or else click on the package and then execute. That way also you can execute, or else if you want to execute only one task, right click on the task and you can do the execute task. Automatically that particular task will execute. Okay. See, when I click on this, it has been passed. So out of 8 records, it aggregated and it done 2 records. Okay, done. Now I will stop this. Now I will go and see the data. See, let's see that this data. So you got this data, right? So now I will refresh these tables. It has a company aggregate. Yeah. When I see the top 1000 rows, you can see the same number of records and same output. See, same output. Okay. This is the query which I have written. This is the output of the query which I did by using SSIS. So did you all get this? Hello? Hello everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is nothing but the aggregate, doing aggregate for the SSIS. Now what we are going to do? We are going. Can someone mute your microphone? I'm getting echo sounds. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So now what we are going to do? We are going to see some other transformation. So one transformation we have covered. That is the aggregate transformation. Now one more thing. Whatever I will cover most of them in the this tables only. I will cover the data flow task. See, I am just dragging the data flow task. Okay. Even though I rename it, you can say by looking at the symbol. See, data flow task has that symbol, right? By looking at the symbol, you can say this is a data flow task. Okay, I will rename it, but now I will be using only the data flow task. Okay, so now what I will do? I got the aggregate data done. Now I got the aggregator, so we are cool. Now next thing what I want, I will take one data flow task. Okay, I will disable this one. Already we are done, right? So I will disable them. Done. Okay, now I will take some data from a table. Let's say there is a table called city. Select top 1000 rows. This table has the data for cities. Okay, it is something like city ID and city description. Okay, it is a city ID and city description. Or else we can do it other way. I will close all the stuff. Okay, this is a table called employee address. Now what I want, whatever the data I am getting, I want to convert it into the uppercase. I want to convert this into the uppercase. So generally you will do this way, right? I will remove, by default it will show the top 1000, right? I can do it in 2 ways. I can write upper and do it. This is the one way I do in T-SQL. Okay, when I do, automatically that one will be converted into the uppercase. But in SSIS, how you can do? So you can do it one way. Data flow task. So drag and drop the source. Okay, drag and drop the OLEDB source. Then next, I'll connect to the table. What is the table name? It is in the SQL class, right? In the SQL class database, and the table name is employee address. I'll select it. For preview, I can preview the data. Okay, done. Okay. Now see which transformation I need to use for that is that. Click on the common. Okay, you can see here condition split data conversion. No, by looking at the name you need to say. See that they named it in a such a way that by name itself, by looking at the name you can say okay what it does. Data conversion. Okay, the direct column, lookup, merge join, multicast. Okay, I think this none of this is related to that name, right? Leave it. go to the other transformations. In this, there is one transformation called character map. Now drag and drop the character map. Okay. So now see, I need the input, I will connect to the character map. Now when I click, see, by looking at the symbol you can see it is showing capital A and it is showing arrow to a small a, means you can use that as a conversion, that is it. Now I will open this. So EMP ID, EMP state, right. So I will select the EMP ID, EMP state, whichever you want to convert. I want only EMP state, right. I will select the EMP state. Now it is asking me the operation. I will click on this. I want to convert it as a uppercase. That's it. You can convert to different languages, lowercase, uppercase, byte reversal. You can also divide them. Okay, katakana. I don't know regarding this other language. There is some traditional Chinese. Okay, you can convert whatever language you want. Done. I did the uppercase one. Okay. Now what I will do? I'll again I'll load this data into one table. So how to load? Or else every time the table is becoming like a disturbance, right. I'll load into the flat file. So that's it. I'll just connect to the flat file. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is the source, right. We can't connect the source. If you want to load, we need to connect to the destination, not the source. So that's what is showing another. Now I'll destination. I'll connect it here. Now I'll click the flat file destination new. Okay. I'll name it as upper. I'll browse. So in the same database, I'll name it as upper, because we created one folder called test SSIS files, right. By default it opened, because last time we opened it, right. So we got it. Now I'll click columns, advanced, done. You got 3 columns. Okay. Mappings. So you are going to map them. Done. Okay. See, one more thing. When I click the character map, by default, see, there is output alias also. You are giving output alias. Since I am giving the output alias as copy of EMP state, so by default it is showing that one. If I want, I can rename it also. Okay. If I want, I can rename it. Now what's happening? You will get 2 columns from the source, right. And after that, you are doing one more column in the character map. What are the column you do in the character map? There is one more column you added. So it becomes 3 columns. Now when I go to the flat file destination, now you can see the mappings. You can see 3 columns in the input. One is 2 columns which you are getting, other is a column which you are converted. So you got, I am loading the 3 columns into a table. Okay. So the same way, now I will go here, I will back, I will right click on this execute task. So automatically it will be created. I will go here, desktop, there is a file here with the test SSIS files. Yeah, there is upper already created, because now it package ran, right. Package ran successfully, so it is done. Click on this, done. Now I will open this upper. Now you can see the first column is ID, second column is state, and third one is upper converted. See, now you can see the upper one. Okay. This is the way how you will use that character map. Okay. Now I'll rename it as a character map or upper, because I did upper conversion, right. Done, upper. Okay. So this is the one way to convert, and I'll show some other things. I am going to show some other things. We'll see them. What is other things that we can do it here. Now what I will be showing, sorry, I will go to the data flow task. So we have seen the aggregate and we have seen the upper. Now next we will see the condition split. Okay, I will cover parallelly, don't worry, I will cover some transformations in the common, I will cover some transformations in the other transforms. Okay, don't worry, I will cover, I will not follow order, whatever thing I remember I will just cover them. Okay. Now go to the common. Here you have one thing called condition split. What is a condition split? Okay, based on the condition you can split the data. Okay, based on the condition you can split the data. So on what condition? Now I got the data here, right. So let's say I am just closing this. This is a company table I am having. This is a company table I am having. So what I want, if the amount is greater than 100, then I want to store it in one file. If the amount is less than 100, then less than or equal to 100, then I want to store it into one file, other file. Okay. Now what, you are storing the entire data into one file, right. Now my scenario is that based on the conditions I want to split my input. See, now you are getting an input and you are loading directly into one output. Now I want to split my input into 2 different outputs. I want to split my input. Input means I am getting this data. Okay. Based on the conditions, I want to split them into 2 outputs. Like if the amount is less than or equal to 100, I want to load it into one file. If the amount is greater than or equal to 100, I want to load it into other file. I want to do that way. So, how to do that we will see now. So, the same way I will drag and drop the data flow task. Okay. I will rename it. I will rename it as some condition split. Okay. So, now what I will do? I will click on this as usual, drag and drop the data flow task, other sources, OLEDB source. For SQL Server, you will always use the OLEDB source. I will connect to the SQL class and the table name is a company. Done. I will preview, so I can see some top 200 records. Done. Columns. Okay. Okay. Now, I got the data now. I want to split the data based on a condition. So, how to split means you can drag and see on the condition split you can see. You can see here on the condition split symbol. What is symbol it's showing? This is a condition split, right? I will drag and drop. You can see the symbol clearly. You are getting one input. In between that you add some conditions like yellow symbol, right? Diamond symbol. After that it is split into two outputs. Means you will get one input based on the condition. You can split more than one outputs. You can split based on the conditions. Okay. Now what I will do? I will give the input to the condition split. Click on that. Now, based on which output I need to do, right? Based on the amount I need to do it, right? I will select the amount. See, when I open by default, I will get here. So, you got functions in the SSIS, you got different functions, right? Substring, that all the functions you can see here in that window. Okay. In the left side window, this is a window where you will be getting the input. So, what are the columns you get from the source, that all columns will be there in these columns. Okay. Do not worry about the variables and parameters, we are going to see about them later on. Just only worry about the columns on the left side one. Right side is that you use a null function, datetime function, you convert some functions into string, use the substring, right? That all will be there here. Okay. See, that all will be there. You can do the L trim, R trim, see uppercase, okay, right, reverse, that all we have seen in T-SQL, right? That all functions are there here. So, you can just drag and drop that functions, or you can write, if you know the syntax, you can write it. Okay, there are operators, additional, what are the operators are there, that everything you can see here. Okay. Now, what I want based on the amount condition. So, what I will do, what is my condition here? Amount, drag and drop the amount column, amount. See, by default when I dragged, you got the output one, this is a condition. So, here output name, I will name this output as less than, that is LT, less than and equal to 100. The same way I will do amount less than or equal to 100. Okay. So, what system does, whatever the values are there, whatever the records which satisfy this condition, that one will be passed into this output. We are going to see next. Okay. Next, what I want, I will drag the amount, it should be greater than 100, greater than 100. And here what I will do, I will write it as greater GT, okay, 100, greater than 100, that is it. And one more thing, if none of the records satisfy this condition, okay, like okay, we got the greater than 100 and I will write one more condition. So, and means I will give this one and amount less than, let us see some amount, what are the things we have, less than 900. Okay. This is the one more thing. So, now what happens, greater than 100 and less than 900, this is my output. Now, you can see I am taking, so I am getting records. So, for the first output I will be taking, if the amount is less than 100, I will pass to this output. If the amount is greater than 100 and less than 900, I will pass to this output, done. But still you got some other records, which has the amount greater than 900, see. Like 2 records you have greater than 900. So, what you are going to do with that? So, in that scenario there is one more called default output. What are the records which does not satisfy this above two conditions, automatically they will go into the default output. Okay. Here I can name it, I will name the output as other, that is it. Okay. Now, you can see, if you want how many conditions you want, you can give it here, if you want other condition you can give it here. Now, I will click OK. So now what I want to store it in a 3 outputs, 3 files. One file is that if the amount is less than 100, I want to store it in one file, less than or equal to 100, I want to store it in a one file, greater than 100 and less than 900, I want to store it in other file, okay, and other data I want to store it in other file, okay, which doesn't satisfy this both the condition, I want to store them in other file. So now as usual what I will do, since I want to load the data into 3 files, okay, so now what I will do, I will drag and drop 3 flat file destinations. Now what I will do, I will rename the flat file destination name as, I will rename it as less than and equal to 100. In this file I will load greater than 100 and less than 900, okay. Here I will load other, done. Now what I will do, when I see here, when I connect to this one, okay, before connecting I want to show you one thing. Now click on the condition split, you got 3 outputs and I rename the output name, right, a less than, greater than or others. Now see, when I connect this output to, when I connect this blue line to this output, okay, see normally basically in the above one I got one blue line I used. After this if I click, there will be no blue line here, there will be only one blue line, okay. But for the condition split, since you have 3 conditions, so you will be having 3 blue lines. Now you will see at the it shows only one, but once you drag and drop you can see the other one. Now because in this one which I want to store the output which has a less than and equal to 100. So when I click, since there are 3 output in the condition split, right, now I can select which output I want. When I click, whatever the name I named, I can see less than and equal to 100, done, click OK. So it will be stored. Next, see, when I click again I will get one more thing, but the above one you will not be getting, you will be getting only one. But a condition split, since you have 2 outputs, you will get since you have 2 outputs plus one default one, so you have 3 outputs, so you will get 3 lines. Now when I connect it here, now it will ask me again. See, already I used less than, right, so it is asking you had only 2 outputs, so which one you want to select. I will select this one. So by default there is only one leftover output, right, so when you connect by default it will assign as the other one. See, now you can see the name also here, which output you have taken, okay. Now I will click on the flat file connection, go to the new, okay. Now I will select that one. So what I will do, I will select this as a less than equal to 100. I will rename it as less than equal to 100. Browse, I will store it here, less than equal to 100, okay, file name, okay. Go to the columns, advanced, done, okay, okay. Go to the mappings, done, you are good. Now I will do the same thing with this one also. So new, okay, greater than 100 and less than 900. Browse, I will paste it here, open, columns, advanced, done, okay. Oh sorry, since I have not given mapping, so it is done. So I need to go and click the mapping, done, okay. Now same with the other, new, I will give the other, click on the browse, I will type other, columns, advanced, okay, okay, done, mapping. So once I do, okay, done, okay. Now I got the mapping, I did. So before going to the, let's see the number of records, we will count manually which records are there. So less than 100, less than or equal to 100, you got 1, 2, 3 records, okay. So you got 3 records for less than 100, less than and equal to 100, you got 3 records, okay, 3. Next, greater than 100 and less than 900, 1, 2, 3 records. So that is also 3 records, I will just write it here, 3 records. And greater other, which doesn't satisfy this condition, means okay, 6 records satisfy the condition, right. So you got other 2 records, that is this 981 and 979. So there are other 2 records, okay. Now we will see, now we will run the package, go to the control flow, click on this task and do the execute task. Now you can see same number of records will be flown into the outputs. When I click it here, now you can see that. See, we got the 8 records, right? See, 3 records went into the less than or equal to 100 output, and 3 records went to the greater than 100 and less than 100. Others 2 records went into the others. You can see the record count also. Okay. Now I am stopping the package. I can go to the files and I can see. When I click the greater less than or equal to 100, when I open the file, now you can see the data. See, less than or equal to 100. You got 3 records. Greater than 100 and less than 900. When I click on this, see 3 records. 878, 877, 799, 779. This is the amount. Third column is our amount, right? Done. And you got one more thing called other. When I click other, you can see the same. See 2 records. Okay. This is the way you can do the condition split. So everyone is clear with this one? Hello? Hello? Are you all clear with this concept? Vinay?
Yes.
Kondal?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So these are like the, yeah. Hello?
So now you have shown us.
I am not clear. I am unable to. I can hear, but it's not clear. Your voice is not clear.
So someone else has actually unmuted their. Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah, see, now you have showed us how we can transform the data to multiple destinations. So is there a way like we pull the data from multiple sources? I'm sure there should be some mechanism.
Yeah, we got many. We'll go step by step. There are many things that. Okay. There is some even auto. Yeah, Manas.
ఒకే ఫైల్లో 3 కండిషన్స్ పెట్టుకోలేమా ఒకే టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్లో?
పెట్టుకోలేవు. నువ్వు ఒక అవుట్పుట్ ఒకటే ఫైల్కి లోడ్ చేయాలి. ఓకే. యా ఈ అవుట్పుట్ ఒకటే ఫైల్కి లోడ్ చేయాలి నువ్వు. హలో.
అంటే అవునవును.
Okay, I'm going to continue now with that other one. So what Manas is asking that, can we see now we are loading these 3 outputs into a different file, right? So can we load everything in a one file? Then what is the use of the condition split? We can directly load them, right? Manas?
అంటే ఏదైనా మధ్యలో ఒక సెంటెన్స్ లాగా ఇచ్చి స్ప్లిట్ లేదా ఒక గ్యాప్ ఇచ్చి ఒక 2 rows గ్యాప్ ఇచ్చి అలాగా.
అంటే అర్థం కాలేదు, చెప్పు ఒకసారి.
ఇప్పుడు ఫైల్ లోపల ఈ హెడ్డింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, లెస్ దాన్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ టు 100 అని, గ్రేటర్ దాన్ అండ్ లెస్ దాన్ 900 అని, అదర్ అని ఒకే ఫైల్ లోపల 3 హెడ్డింగ్స్ పెట్టి ఈచ్ హెడ్డింగ్ కింద 3 rows 3 rows 2 rows అని అలాగా.
అలా ఇవ్వలేము. ఎందుకంటే ఫైల్లో నువ్వు ఏ ఫైల్ అంటే ఏంటిదంటే, నువ్వు డేటా ఫైల్లో ఎలా లోడ్ చేయాలంటే నువ్వు ఒక కాన్స్టెంట్ ప్రొసీజర్లో ఒక ప్రొసీజర్లో స్టోర్ చేయాలి. ఇప్పుడు చూడు, నేను ఏ ఫైల్ ఓపెన్ చేశా కానీ ప్రతి ఒక్క దాంట్లో డేటా ఈజ్ సపరేటెడ్ బై కామాస్. చూసారా, ఎక్కడ చూసినా డేటా ఈజ్ సపరేటెడ్ బై కామాస్. నేను అదే ఫైల్ని మళ్ళీ SSIS ఓపెన్ చేసినా సిస్టమ్కి అర్థమవుతుంది. చూడు, ఇప్పుడు నెక్స్ట్ రో ఏమో సపరేట్, నెక్స్ట్ రికార్డ్ ఆటోమేటికల్లీ నెక్స్ట్ లైన్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయింది. నీకు అర్థమైందా మానస్? కానీ నువ్వు ఇప్పుడు మధ్యలో ఏమైనా బ్యాడ్ టెక్స్ట్ ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసావు అనుకో, ఓకే, ఇది ఇచ్చినావు, నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకో 3 రికార్డ్స్ ఉంది గ్రేటర్ దెన్ ఇచ్చినావు అనుకో, అప్పుడు సిస్టమ్కి అర్థం కాదు. అది సిస్టమ్ మళ్ళీ ఆ ఫైల్ని డేటాని రీడ్ చేయాలంటే నాట్ ఓన్లీ సిస్టమ్, there are many other process, SAP people many people they load the data from the files, so that system will not be able to understand this concept. So we always, whenever we load a file, we will follow certain standards. Okay, so this is the thing. I'll stop the video, I'll stop the recording.